Now, question number 65 reads, it has been claimed in the passage that education would play an even greater role in generating cultural cohesion. According to the passage, which of the following seem or seems an appropriate reason or reasons for such a claim? So, what we have to point out to, or what the question wants to know from us, is that were this particular line in the passage, which is education would play an even greater role in generating cultural cohesion, which of the three options given to you would be appropriate reasons for making such a claim? What we are supposed to point out to is the kind of society that will come into existence once there is greater social cohesion. Obviously, if there is cohesion, C will fall into place, since the cohesion in the arena of culture, if there is cultural cohesion, it will lead to greater understanding and appreciation of differences. I will point out to the part where this has been mentioned in the passage. If we go back to the passage, it's over here where it says that Durkheim's sociology pointed to the view that social integration required a cooperative framework for social groups, and one in which education would play an even greater role in generating cultural cohesion. So there would be cultural cohesion, differences would collapse, there would be more understanding, and of course, as the option says, that culture specifically will have a lot of greater understanding. Okay, if we pay attention to sentence A also over here, it says education would facilitate in understanding generalized values. This again we find there in the passage. See, it says here ahead of the place where we had marked it already, it says around the formation of generalized values. So yes, education would play a role in generating the formation of generalized values. The understanding of generalized values would increase. Even if you read on towards the later part of the paragraph, you would come to know that he says that he talks about a meeting ground between collective consciences, and he says that all of this is going to happen if there is education, or the role of education is pointed out to in social integration. Now, what about B, option B? It says it would make people more patriotic towards their own collective conscience. Now, I did point out to the point about collective conscience right now, but then this has not been mentioned with a view of the effect that education will have, or the kind of society that it will come because of higher education or greater education, or because of greater social cohesion. B is a problem that education seeks to address. Where is that mentioned? Right over here. It says that the problem of collective consciences is an issue of central importance in understanding European integration in terms of a problem, or the problematic relationship between social integration and cultural cohesion. So this is a problem. It's one of the core areas that education will try to address and solve. So it is not one of the effects that education will have on a society, or the kind of society that will be formed due to cultural cohesion. So we know that for question number 65, the answer is D, or has to be D, which is options A and C are correct, while B cannot be taken into the picture. Question number 66, it was a tone question for this passage, the one about Durkheim. It says, which of the following best describes the tone of the passage? Now, the tone has to be analytical, which would make option B the correct answer. A reading of the passage tells us that the author is trying to take apart, or trying to analyze Durkheim's theory. He presents the reader with the theory, he presents us with the theory, and then he goes into the various perspectives of Durkheim, and how he managed to give us a view of society as he would like it to be, and the other popular theories of his age. So when you make an analysis, we know that, or when an author makes an analysis, he goes into both pros and cons, as the author has done with this passage. The author would take it apart, the entire subject matter, and that is what this author also has done with this passage on Durkheim. The author does not argue. If you have read the passage, you would not come across any arguments of any kind to support any particular idea. So we can safely eliminate option A. Again, derisive means mocking. To deride is to mock somebody, so it doesn't make sense in this in connection to the passage, because the author has not been mocking either anyone or Durkheim or his contemporaries or his theory for that matter. Now option D would have been correct. Option D says meditative. Meditative means thoughtful, right? And so it would have been correct, let's say, had the author contemplated a lot through the use of questions or thought-provoking statements. That's not there, and that is why we can safely say that the answer for question number 66, the tone question, the tone has to be option B, which is analytical.